Did you know that you could make more money with Lyft or Uber depending on what's playing on your radio? This is something that I had to learn over time, and I'm going to share all of my radio playing secrets with you because that's what I do. I'm here to help you make more money. We're gonna go through some of the do's and don'ts of how to handle your radio when passengers are in your car. And then I'm going to share my top options for what I like to play that makes me and my passengers happy while they're forking over the tips. You would think that common sense is enough to dictate to a driver what should and shouldn't be played while they have passengers in their car, but here we are. One driver took to the internet to ask, is it justifiable to leave a bad review for an Uber or Lyft driver if they have politically offensive material on the radio? That someone has to even ask this is crazy to me, and the responses don't get much better. If it's not to your liking, it is the passenger's prerogative to request something different from the driver. This must be the first step. But I disagree, and I'm not the only one either. I can't help to notice that these answers are coming from men. I've been in situations where I don't really know where I am or it's late, and I've been too scared to speak up in the car. Now I know some of you watching might have your own preferences on this debate, but here's something that you can't really debate: money. Your primary goal as a Lyft or Uber driver should be to make money. Keeping your passenger happy is the easiest way to get tips regardless of whether they speak up or not. This is why I use Slip.Stream for music, because music is very important in catering to people's emotions. If music is used incorrectly, you might remind a passenger about a bad breakup or just a time period in their life that didn't make them happy. It could be the happiest song in the world, but if they heard it at a dark time in their life, it could make them relive that trauma. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely not tipping anyone who puts me through that. With Slip.Stream, their royalty-free music is so well categorized that I can make sure that I'm in control of how the music influences my passengers. And because Slip.Stream has music that's not available anywhere else, it's impossible for your passengers to have a pre-existing connection to that music. That gives you the ability to establish a positive connection with the passenger, making you stand out more than other Lyfts or Ubers. Their musical selection is even perfect for when you have multiple passengers that want to talk to each other. Or if you have a passenger that's on the phone, you can always select music that becomes the perfect chill background music for their call without being a disturbance to them, while maintaining something interesting for yourself to listen to while they talk. There's over 100,000 unique songs and playlists to play from, and you can even access a percentage of that for free. There's a link below for you to check out, and there's even a discount code that I earn absolutely no money from. So make sure you check it out at the end of the video. While Slip.Stream ranks #1 on my list, here are 2 podcasts that have helped me to increase my tip ratio. This is Dave Ramsey. He's a personal finance radio host that's helped over 6 million people take control of their money for good. Like, not like temporarily and then they fall into a trap. It's like, no, these people have for good changed their financial trajectory. And I'm one of them. There was a week where I made $3,000 busting my butt, and I decided to play Dave Ramsey before discovering Slip.Stream. Here's what I found. There's people who don't like Dave Ramsey's teachings, and then there's people that do. The people that do like his teachings would always break out of their shell and tell me all about their financial journey and even ask about mine. It would always give me the opportunity to share how much debt I'm in and which step of the process I'm in and my overall financial goals. Encouraged by my story, I found that Dave Ramsey supporters were way more likely to leave a tip, almost as if they were cheering me on. For those that don't agree with Dave Ramsey's teachings, they would speak up just as much as the people who would agree, but they didn't always tip as much, which is one of the negatives of listening to Dave Ramsey. Essentially, it was like flipping a coin, which is why it comes in at #2 on the list. My third option is a little more controversial than Slip.Stream or Dave Ramsey. And I'll be honest, at first, I listened to this podcast without regards for my passengers just because of how entertaining it was for me. It's called Lou Later, and it's a podcast where a guy who's known for bending the iPhone goes live almost every day to talk about whatever is happening in the world. And sometimes what's happening is offensive. But what Lou and his team does very well is that they're able to take a crazy topic and talk about it without being offensive. And they even make it a little lighthearted. They'll talk about topics ranging from the Russian-Ukrainian war to cute feel-good moments. And because these guys are based in Canada, it's pretty refreshing to hear opinions from people who are impartial to the American way of life. The problem and why this ranks in third for me is that with some passengers, the perspective on a topic doesn't matter because it's the topic itself that offends people. However, I found that with younger crowds, they are way more likely to leave me a tip if I'm listening to this podcast compared to the Dave Ramsey podcast, where I found that it's the older people who will leave me a tip. All of this to say, it's extremely important to know and understand how to influence your passengers into a better mood in order to increase the chances of being tipped. Here's some more tips to help you earn more tips not related to what you play on your radio. Provide excellent customer service. As someone who used to be a store manager for Pizza Hut and a district manager for Parker's Kitchens, great customer service can take you really far in the eyes of your passengers. Always be accommodating as long as it doesn't cost you money. I once had a ride where I couldn't find my passenger for over 15 minutes at the airport because they were so communicative. I decided to be patient with them. They ended up tipping me $40 for the ride. Be on time. I've heard stories of drivers who will grab food and gas while on the way to pick up passengers, and I find this to be very inconsiderate and shows very poor planning skills. We never know how on time or late a passenger might be, and showing some hustle translates into getting some better tips. Know when to talk. Not everyone wants to talk with their driver, and sometimes people want to be able to vent. It can be both sides of the spectrum. So whether you as a driver love to talk or you hate it, it's very useful to know when and when not to talk to your passengers. If you think I should make a video on this topic, drop a comment below. If enough people want to learn about reading body language and speech tones and how to figure out when to talk to someone and when not to talk to someone, I will do a video on that because I think it's extremely important in making sure your passengers are comfortable. Get a sign that says tips are appreciated. Sometimes people need an extra nudge or reminder that tips are something we look forward to. However, it's important to make sure that you're not over the top in your delivery. Having a sign is a great passive-aggressive way to encourage passengers to drop a tip for you. Sometimes passengers don't even know that tips are a thing. I'm going to link to some signs that you can use in the back of your headrests that will help you make more money, and you can thank me later or now. That's fine too. Drive when no one else is driving. This can mean late at night, driving in areas other drivers avoid, or even driving through crazy weather like heavy rain or snow. From my experience, passengers are way more appreciative of drivers who are willing to take that extra risk. Just make sure that you drive as safely as you can and take your time if you plan to drive through crazy weather. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to drive for 28 days straight for 16 to 18 hours a day in order to see how much money I can make during that time span. My goal is to make over $10,000, and if you want to see the results of that test, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Once I hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to start a new business and I'm gonna take you along for the ride. Lyft and Uber can be really great for making money, but the goal should be to find ways to make money without you having to sit in the driver's seat the whole time. We are talking about semi-passive income that you can earn while you're driving or just chilling at home. We also have a Discord if you want to join if you're interested in being part of a community of people who are focused on working for their money so that one day their money can work for them.